I was
Hello.
telling. Oh, hello. Are we know if we're starting officially or not? But
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna leave this alone because I'm lazy. So we are watching Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, and we're just talking about like how Chun-Li is the worst thing of Street Fighter. But the Siler was talking about, and I forgot it even existed, that there's like an anime that they kind of did sort of off of the movie we're watching today.
and I also want to point out there is a 4-episode crossover with the Mortal Kombat cartoon, or it's a part 1 crossover. It was part of the Action Extreme Team programming block. It was Mortal Kombat, Savage Dragon, and Wing Commander Academy.
Oh my god! I watched that Savage Dragon cartoon.
Yeah, isn't it wild where Savage Dragon is now?
Yeah, it's so weird to
full blown fucking in that book.
Well, it's like crazy to think about, like that. All that weird, like the image stuff, was so big. Like there was a Savage Dragon cartoon. The Max had a cartoon.
Also, Savage Dragon streaming on Peacock.
There was going to be a Youngblood TV show that like never happened.
Yep.
But like you could, it's like if you do some digging online, you could easily find the pilot. But yeah, so this movie, Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, came out in '94 in Japan, 2 months before Street Fighter, the live-action Raul Julia movie, came out in the United States.
I like how we call it the Raul Julia movie, not the Van Damme.
I mean, Van Damme is good in that movie, but I think like Raul Julia, it's like Raul Julia is like what you kind of stay for.
Van Damme was too busy blowing $10,000 worth of cocaine up his nose and banging out Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
Also, I'm John Scott, by the way.
Doesn't sound like a bad use of his time.
But yeah, so
we should also introduce ourselves at some point.
Yes, I'm Lou. We have the two Johns, Scott and Siler. But yeah, I do think it's funny that it's called Street Fighter 2, the animated, because it's like the Street Fighter we all think of is Street Fighter 2, because like Street Fighter the original, I don't even think I've ever played it.
It was arcade only. Do you know like how that game was presented?
No.
Like in arcades. So like if you Google like Street Fighter like 1 arcade cabinet, you'll notice like it has like these 2 like big ass buttons, and that's like how you're supposed to like punch and kick. Is that you hit the buttons to do the punching and the kicking.
I'm pretty sure I have been to an arcade that has that original cabinet.
But yeah, it was bad. Because the nature of how the machine was designed, it broke all the time. It was not popular.
I found the picture of it. I'll put it here in our chat, and it might be part of our artwork.
But like the whole concept of like do you know the story about how the combo system was like a mistake?
Oh yeah,
now it's the standard.
So like the way that you combo into moves in Street Fighter 2 was originally like a glitch that. Because it was just basically like you do a move and then your move's done. But then like there was a glitch where like you could combo your moves together, and they were like, oh, like this makes the game like way more fun. Let's keep it in, and that basically just like redefined fighting games for like an entire generation. Which
is crazy.
Which is funny because like we did Mortal Kombat last week, and they are like they're the 2 dominant fighter games, and their fighting mechanics are so different.
Yeah. In like the United States, like SNK it's like there were like 3 pillars. It was definitely Capcom with Street Fighter, Midway with Mortal Kombat, and then SNK with like Fatal Fury and the King of Fighters. Like,
I would disagree with that. I would say Tekken.
Tekken comes out later, though.
Yeah, that's a little bit later. I think that's like when the 3D revolution kind of like starts happening.
Tekken's like the lone survivor of those like 3D fighting games. Like, whereas like Tekken, Dead or Alive, Virtua Fighter, Soul Calibur.
It's like, and they still make Soul Calibur games, and they're still like really beloved, and Tekken's still really beloved, and DOA still has like its audience. It's just like kind of like not as big as the other ones, but.
I feel like I feel like Dead or Alive's only big off one is
beach volleyball, where people watch virtual titties.
Beach volleyball booby physics.
Oh well, I mean, like Dead or Alive 2. Like, there was a time where Dead or Alive 2 was like one of the best looking games out there. It's even like Dead or Alive 3 for the Xbox was like such an incredible looking game. Like,
See, what's funny is, and I do think it shows how important Street Fighter is. I feel like Mortal Kombat's the only one with a very different fighting system. I feel like all the other 2D, pretty much Street Fighter stayed 2D for the most part, but like all the 2D ones seem to like copy what Street Fighter does, like how their mechanics work.
yeah, 3D Street Fighter games, like actual 3D Street Fighter games, that move on a 3D plane. And like they're not good, but they got like their like super hardcore dedicated audience. Like there's like a really funny Maximilian Dude episode where he's like, "Oh yeah, this game sucks," and then about 10 minutes into the episode, he's like, "Wait, this game actually rules, you guys?"
Well, are you talking about the if you're saying 3D Street Fighter games, what about Street Fighter the movie, the game?
No, we're talking like traditional like 3D models.
Okay,
on
I was kidding.
Like playing like Tekken. But yeah, so Street Fighter. Well, so like yeah, so they.
Because I feel like even like modern like 2D fighters like basically play in some way or another like a Street Fighter. Like I think Fighter Z, like Fighters, the Dragon Ball Z game, has a ton of Street Fighter in it, and I feel like that's how like I feel like Mortal Kombat didn't ever do that.
Well, like it has a lot of Marvel vs. Capcom in its DNA,
which is Street Fighter. In my mind, I like they're like
the tag games are
brothers.
Kind of its own. The tag games are like its own completely different animal, but yes, like they grow from like that tree.
Yeah.
Speaking of Street Fighter like games, the one I just posted in our chat here, I keep forgetting there's a Les Miserables 2D fighting game that looks a lot like Street Fighter / Marvel vs. Capcom.
Oh yeah, there's like a ton of just like,
which is just bonkers to me that you can just fight people as Valjean or Javert.
Yeah, man. If you ever want to go down the rabbit hole of like fighting games, there's like a ton of them. And like a lot of like really cool like lost gems. But yeah, I was like looking at this list of all the Street Fighter moves that came out, and I think I've seen all of them except for Assassin's Fist, which was the live action online series that they,
I don't even know that this exists.
Yeah. It was basically about the origin of Ryu and Ken training under Gouken, and then then Akuma shows up and like does some shit. I hear it's good. I just like never like kind of checked it out because it's like it was like online, so it's like you had to go find it somewhere. But like for the most part, like it's like I've seen the other animated movies, like Street Fighter Alpha is like I've seen it. It's like fine. And then Street Fighter Alpha Generations is not good, and Street Fighter 4, The Ties That Bind, is also not good. But hey, man, they're not as bad as Street Fighter Legend Chun-li.
No, which you want to hear.
I was gonna say, if you want to hear that episode, we all watched it, we all talked about it, we all hated it.
But like for the most part, like I still keep up with any kind of like Street Fighter lore. Like I every once in a while I'll just go to the their like dedicated wiki page that has a listing for like all the characters and like the relationships of all these other bit characters and how they relate to the overall plot.
In my head, I feel like Street Fighter has a simpler like canon, but it probably doesn't. But it's like slightly less insane than Mortal Kombat.
I mean, like it just kind of depends on like what you want to like kind of get out of it. Like, I think like this might be the movie that like sets up that Guile and Ken are what's it called when your wives are related?
Your brother-in-laws?
Yeah, they're brother-in-laws because like Ken's wife is the sister of Guile's wife.
Now, I'm trying to remember, like...
Oh, I don't know anything about Street Fighter lore, so I'm just going to be listening quietly.
Yeah,
and
all I remember is, like, the main things is, like, Ken and Ryu train under the same master, who also trains, he was rivals with Akuma, right? Their master?
Gouken and Akuma are brothers.
Okay, and then what's her name? Is it Sakura? Trained
Sak-
under Ryu?
Yeah, Sakura is like basically like a gigantic fanboy for Ryu, and basically wants to like learn under the way of the fist. But she's also training with Dan and
Yes.
Blanca.
Which is hilarious because I love that Dan is canon when he was a goof character to make fun of. Was it Samurai Showdown?
He was to make fun. He was like a parody of Ryo from Art of Fighting.
Okay, I knew it was like one of those earlier ones.
Which is funny because they made Dan as a parody character of Ryo, but then like they made Sakura, who's basically Yuri, who like ends up becoming like one of Capcom's most popular characters.
Yeah, because if you've ever played the games, Dan is the one in the pink gi with the tiny, very slow Hadouken.
Yeah, he calls it the Gadoken. Because he learns Psycho style, which is his own style he has taught himself.
He's kind of like the Steven Seagal of the Street Fighter universe.
He's basically like also modeled to look like Steven Seagal in like those very early like.
Oh yeah, like the
artwork.
slick back, like the hair and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like I'm trying to. I don't think any of us, because the first Street Fighter game came out in '87. None of us played that. I had. Not Street Fighter 2. I think I had like 2 Turbo was the first one I owned.
I never had any of the games. My only experience comes from putting quarters in the arcade every now and again.
Yeah,
and
so that's 2 Turbo
the
is the 5th installment of 2. Because they just kept re-releasing them.
For what system did you have it on?
Genesis.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, because there was Street Fighter 2, and then there was like Champion Edition, and then I think you guys got Super Street Fighter 2, which was like the one where they added in no, you guys never got Street Fighter 2. You guys got Championship Edition instead, and then you guys got Super Street Fighter 2, which was the one that added in Cammy, Fei Long,
okay,
DJ.
that's not the one I had. I did not have the one with Cammy and Fei Long.
Then you had Championship Edition.
Okay, so that's probably, was that the first one that went to Genesis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I played all those. Like that was the one that was in like my local movie theater. That was like, oh man, there's like 4 extra characters. Who the hell are these guys? One of them is Bruce Lee.
Yeah, there was a
was it, first off, did you go see Street Fighter the movie in theaters, and 2, was it there?
I definitely saw Street Fighter in theaters, and that in that movie theater, if you're in New Jersey and you're driving up the Parkway, the building is still there, but there's nothing there because it's sinking. It's by the Driscoll Bridge.
Okay.
It's literally because they built it on a swamp, and then it just sunk. And that was my like childhood movie theater. The building exists as it's sinking slowly into the earth.
Oh, it's okay. My childhood movie theater just up and closed randomly right before the pandemic hit. So
they tore down mine, and then they built a Regal Cinemas on top of it. And I actually miss that old movie theater because they had like 60 arcade games there.
Oh yeah, that's what like mine was growing, because they had that one and they had Marvel vs. Capcom, the first one.
Ooh.
Yeah. Mine, even like when they built up the new one, they kept like the three that were always my go-to at the new theater were Marvel vs. Capcom, House of the Dead, and Sunset Riders.
Yeah, they had House of the Dead.
Sunset Riders is the absolute shit. I fucking love that game.
I think they might have had Time Crisis. That's the one where you step on the pedals, right?
Time Crisis is like a staple in any movie theater arcade, no matter what space.
What is the shooter game where you step on the pedal to like duck?
That's Time Crisis.
Okay, they definitely had that.
We didn't have Time Crisis. We had Lethal Enforcer.
Oh, we might have had Lethal Enforcer,
which was like the one where it was like kind of realistic, real people, and you would aim at the screen, and then you would shoot them, and then
it had that, and it had Area 51 with the guns.
That one I remember.
And I think at some point they got the Jurassic Park one that you had to sit inside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I actually found out after the pandemic that there's like an arcade bar not too far from us. I'm like, oh, I want to go there.
You should.
But yeah, the way I played Street Fighter as a kid was there was like a family restaurant where like we would go there and order food, and they had like a Street Fighter 2 machine. And I'd always play Zangief because I was like a huge wrestling kid growing up, so of course I'm gonna play like the wrestler.
Oh, this is a great question, like who we main, but yeah, that's awesome, Zangief.
But then like I also own like a Super Nintendo, so like I rented Street Fighter 2 Turbo, like which was like the one that had like Cammy and T-Hawk and DJ and Fei Long.
And Fei Long, yeah.
And then I played the first alpha game or like the second alpha game, one of those was on the Super Nintendo. And that was like the one where it was like, we're going to go back to where they're like in their 20s, and we're going to introduce this young girl named Sakura who's like super into Ryu, and like it's like awesome. Like that's also the game that has Armika, and she's just like perfect.
Yeah, because that's when they start doing all the crossover games, because they crossed over. Like I feel like Street Fighter was crossed over more than anything else.
Because like all of the sprites that they used in like later games, like Street Fighter versus X-Men, Capcom versus SNK, Capcom versus SNK 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2, all those sprites originated from like Alpha 3.
Yeah.
Like it's like so funny when you
Darkstalkers. Is Darkstalkers a different one?
Darkstalkers was like Darkstalkers was like another Capcom fighting series, but instead of it being like about martial arts, it was about movie monsters fighting each other.
The only character I know from Darkstalkers is like Vampire Girl.
Morgan,
yeah.
And it's like so funny because they use that Morgan sprite from like Darkstalkers 3, like until Capcom
2 years ago.
K2, and she's like easily the worst looking sprite in the game. But like, man, those Darkstalker games are so fucking cool. Like the character designs are great, the level designs are super cool, the music's great. There's like something about like early 90s to like 2002 Capcom, like design and characters and world building and music that's just like unfucking conquerable. Like you can't, like, to me it's like you can't get better than like the Third Strike soundtrack, or like Capcom vs. SNK2, or like there's like them doing like Resident Evil, or like
that makes sense.
Even doing like that makes sense. Like the announcers are like so on par. Like the presentation of the games are great.
The other character that's in like all the games is the cat girl,
Felicia.
Yeah. Oh, and the giant mummies and all the crossover ones too. I think.
Anarchist Hisenko is also in a lot of those crossover games. She's like the ghost girl with like the talisman, or like the paper talisman on her face. Like she's in Puzzle Fighter and
yes, the one with like the claw, like the big claw.
God, I love Hisenko. I love Hisenko so much. Like, what a cool design. But yeah, I could gush for like hours about like, man, like to me, like Capcom fighters, like from like that like 10-year period is just like is so untouchable.
Yeah, well, that's like I was saying, is like they are still like what they kind of created in their mechanics, and like I would say even like the style of like where the hit bar is and all the stuff, because like they were before Mortal Kombat even, right? Because Mortal Kombat's what, like 90 or 89?
No, it's definitely 90. It's like 91.
I want to say 93.
Checking right now. Mortal Kombat 1, 92.
92. Yeah, so they were the first Street Fighter. So even like Street Fighter 2 is 91, I think, or 90?
91.
Yeah, so like pretty much like the video game fighting concept and like mechanics, like the skeleton is like Capcom and Street Fighter, and then everything kind of builds out from that.
Yeah, and you know, it's like funny, like all the good fighting games that like kind of like crib on, you know, SNK and Street Fighter, they're mostly like all great because you're cribbing from something that's like pretty good on the base. But like, man, there's like I think it's an Angry Video Game Nerd episode that does like all the Mortal Kombat ripoffs.
They're all so bad.
and they're all bad. Like, you cannot name me like one good, like possibly like Killer Instinct is like
That's
the
that one. That's that Microsoft one, right? From is it Rare?
Well, Rare made one for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, Rare
Okay.
did it first originally. Then
Well, yeah, Killer Instinct is like the only game that cribs from Mortal Kombat. It does it successfully. Like all the rest of them are just like garbage bad.
Well, what's weird is like, and then the other ones.
before we continue, when did we want to start this movie?
Oh, we can start it in a minute. Like, it's a shorter movie, so like, I don't mind us like going on for a little bit. But like, the ones that I remember copying are like the weird like celebrity fake ones, like Def Jam one, which was another game, does like all the weird like super brutal stuff of Mortal Kombat, which it is interesting because I feel like you're always like.
Are you talking about Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Fight for New York?
Yes.
AKA two of the best 3D fighting games ever made.
God, like Def Jam Vendetta is like one of the best wrestling games ever made, and Def Jam Fight for New York is like such a great brawler. Like,
we don't talk about Def Jam Icon. We do not
talk about Def Jam Icon.
Do not talk about Def Jam Icon. Def Jam Icon is a terrible game.
But there was Shaq Fu. There was.
Oh, I own Shaq Fu.
There was the Wu-Tang fighting game.
That's the one I was thinking about, the Wu-Tang one.
There's also
the Wu-Tang one was another game, and then it got turned into the Wu-Tang game.
There's also the 50 Cent shooter games.
Which one of those games is really good?
Blood on the Sand.
Blood on the Sand. Blood on the Sand is actually like pretty good.
Bulletproof's terrible. Blood on the Sand is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they all like did that weird like brutal. The Wu-Tang one is the one that's like super brutal. And the Shaq Fu one is like it's a shooty fighter, but it's like it's sprites, but they're just shitty, and it makes no sense.
Man, let me tell you, I'm looking.
I forgot BioFreaks.
Oh yes,
I've heard
that game plays very badly, but I have like a lot of very fond memories of playing BioFreaks.
By the way, I'm looking through the roster for Def Jam Fight for New York. What a lineup! Like, what a lineup!
Oh, yeah, it's got Henry Rollins,
Flava Flav, Henry Rollins, Ghostface Killah, Ludacris,
Bone Crusher,
Method Man, Redman, Busta Rhymes, Carmen Electra, Lil Kim,
Sticky Fingers, the little
Danny Trejo,
Sean John's in that game.
Danny Trejo is in this game. Exhibit. Oh God, what a game! This was such a great game. Bring back Def Jam. They said they were going to, and they never did anything.
It's really funny because it's like there's like a lot of people, like not a lot of people. I feel like every so often you hear about like a big rapper talk about like wanting to bring back like the Def Jam fighting game. I'm like, man, I would fucking kill. I would pay I'd pay a couple $100 if I could get like MC Ride from Death Grips and in a Def Jam fighting game.
So listen, Def Jam, the actual Twitter came out on August 9th and said, or August 10th and said, once our Twitter hits 1 million, we have a special announcement for you all and put a game controller. They are currently at 1 million followers and they haven't said a thing.
Yeah, because they're liars.
It's been a year. Where is it?
Yeah.
Who even owns like Def Jam at this point?
I assume the rights would have went back to whoever owns the rights.
I didn't even mean the game. I meant like actual Def Jam. Like who even owns that anymore?
Rick Rubin and Russell Simmons are the founders, so I think they're still involved.
The CEO currently is Paul Rosenberg.
I definitely know that name.
So it would be,
and they're still going. Their current artists are like Justin Bieber, Logic, Rihanna.
Actually, Paul Rosenberg, as of last year, stepped down from Def Jam. So I do not
who knows?
know.
It's just a free for all. That's all it is. It's a giant free for all at Def Jam. Def Jam fight for the presidential spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Before I guess we start. So you said, Tyler, you said you mained Zangief. My main, and I think it's because it's the fun at the international aspect of Street Fighter. I always mained Vega because he's Spanish.
Vega's like good in those games.
Oh, he's got the reach. That was like, and you could just spam that little like because you got that extra distance. And I always thought he had like one of the most fun venues, like his level or whatever you want to call it.
Do you mean Taboo's Vega?
No.
No, like, oh man, like Pretty Boy Vega, who's like,
Well, that's what we kind of get it in that first Jean-Claude movie. They don't do a terrible job with their Vega.
you know
No.
where we get it in this movie, and he's
Mhm.
great.
Don't
But yeah,
tell
man,
me I
Vega,
haven't watched it.
but Vega's like such like the mask, the claw,
It's
like
such
the
a great
look.
design.
It's like that's the other thing with Street Fighter 2 is like they just like kill it. It's like everyone's an iconic character in that game. Like everyone's has like super memorable look. Like they're like just all classics.
Well, yeah. Well, and it's like you have like the weird like Balrog's obviously like Mike Tyson. So you have the giant boxer. You have the sumo. You have Vega with the mask and the claw. Bison's in military uniform. Guile
Like-
with his insane hair.
Do you know what Boxer's like real name is in Japan?
No.
It's M Bison.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because it's supposed to be like it's a goof. They mixed them up over here.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
that's the
Balrog
goof
is M Bison Japan, and Balrog
is Bison.
is Vega.
No.
Vega is Bison, and like so when you go into tournaments, like a lot of times, and like I still call it like Bison and Vega and whoever the character I'm playing, because it's like, you know, I'm an American, I'm playing the American game, you should know. But when you're playing like in tournaments that have like an international audience, it's always Dictator, Claw, or Boxer. And that's how you differentiate like who the character the people are playing. So if you're playing Bison, you're playing Dictator. If you're playing
Yeah, they do that on
Vega,
fighting
you're playing
tournaments,
Claw.
right?
Yeah. If you're playing Balrog, you're playing Boxer.
Yeah. Oh, I remember hearing that. I'm like, yeah, that's fun though. And John Scott, you said like you never really played Street Fighter ever. Well, you're younger than us, but like,
Yeah, but I didn't have a main or anything. Like if anything, I put my quarters more into like MK3.
Is there like a type of character you always go towards? Because I always pick
Not
either
that I
the
can,
wrestler or the weird character.
not that I can genuinely remember, honestly.
oh yeah, I was always Vega or Blanca because it's also like the other Latino character plus he's a monster with electric powers. And then again, it's like he's one of the characters that like if you knew how to do the electricity that you could just spam if the other person didn't know how to do other moves.
Yeah, there's like a lot of South American characters in Street Fighter. Like
Isn't there a jujitsu one now, woman?
So in Street Fighter 3, they introduced Sean, who's like a disciple of Ken. And then in Street Fighter 5, they introduced Laura, who's the sister of Sean. And she's like, yeah, she's into like MMA, and all of her moves are MMA based, and she's like the bombshell character for like the introduction for that game, or like the new bombshell character.
And now I'm trying to remember, is 5 the one that they released and they did it in a really shitty way?
Yeah, 5 is the current game that launched pretty badly, but has had like a pretty good second life. Like the last couple of years, Capcom's had like a very good return to grace where Monster Hunter is really cool and selling well. Like Resident Evil seems to be back on track with like the remakes and Big Vampire Mommy in the next one. And people seem to be really in love with that. Like the new Devil May Cry is great. And all the DLC, like the last couple of DLC characters, are like very exciting for Street Fighter 5. And
yeah, I'm looking. The season 5 has Dan, which is fun. But I remember when people were like, "Wait, Balrog and Guile are in? You have to buy them?" And people were like, "What the fuck?"
No, they were in the base game.
No, they're not. They were first DLC.
No, Balrog and Guile were absolutely base game.
I'm looking at it right now. They released them, I think, for free at some point. But they were not when it first dropped, they were not characters.
Okay, that's bad.
Because that was the whole thing. Like they put out an unfinished game. There was like when they first released 5, I think it's 5, you couldn't even play. I think it was only like 2 modes that you could play.
Oh, Balrog and Guile weren't in season 1. I thought they were launch.
No, that was like this is like one of the worst introductions. There was when it came out, there was no single player story mode. Balrog and Guile were not in the main cast. They were in the first DLC, and when it first launched, the only things you could do was play like versus or play like online.
So the neat thing about what I thought was pretty neat about the base roster for Street Fighter V was they picked 4 characters from Street Fighter 2, 4 characters from Alpha, 4 characters from 3, and 4 characters that were just like kind of like new. And I thought that was just like a really kind of cool idea because that's like how you were able to fit in like a Mika, you were able to fit in a Karen, a Birdie, like these characters who had not been seen in like quite a long time. And so like so they did season 1, which was Alex, Balrog, Guile, Ibuki, Jury, and Urien. Jury not being in the base game was very weird because Jury is probably like the most popular new character in Street Fighter. But yeah, and it's like season 2 was like kind of a super mixed bag because they brought in Akuma, but like Akuma kind of wasn't the character people like wanted out of him.
No, season 3 looks like a bigger because you have
like,
Sagat, Sakura, Blanca, and Cody.
But like Minot in season 2, oh man, what a great new character. She's animated really well. She's like a really fun looking character. She has like a pretty cool like her like ties to the lore is really cool. And in Street Fighter 3, they introduced G, who like is probably the best new character they created for that game. Like G is great. And G, it's like so like it's funny like when you look at like some of these characters also like Ed and Colleen and like especially Falk played so badly, and Cody plays so bad, and their animations are like not good. But then like you'd see like Minot and G, and it's just like they're
G
so fluid.
G is Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, and he's the president of the Earth, and he's like this crazy man who like has some kind of like huge ties in the plot in some way that they're finally kind of like wrapping that shit up. And now that there's like a new like now that like the guy who had been running Capcom Fighters for like the last 10 years, he's been 86'd out like finally because I feel like
is Cage like Akuma's son or something because he looks like baby Akuma.
Kage,
yeah.
Kage is Ryu, who has been fully like
it's Dark Ryu
by the Dark Hado.
Oh god damn it.
So like, and that's like another thing that like, okay, so basically like you have 2 major storylines of Street Fighter, and I'll just kind of like leave it at this. So you have the story of Street Fighter where it's basically Bison as the leader of Shadaloo who's trying to do some bullshit, and it's have
Cobra
like
Commander.
Yeah, and he has his own set of bad guys doing bad guy things, and Guile and Ryu and Chun-Li and all the good guys are trying to stop Bison. The other half of the story is Ryu, who has like this inner torment, wanting to be like the best, like not like to be the best fighter, but to control like this dark entity that's like buried deep inside him. That is like basically a thing called the Dark Hado. The Dark Hado basically makes Akuma what he is, because Akuma gave in to the power of the Dark Hado, and it consumed his humanity.
It's almost like they're Jinchurikis, and Akuma gave in.
Yeah. So anytime you see like Ryu, like he gets a tinge of like red in his eye, it's like the Dark Hado trying to take over.
The first thing, and I think it's in this movie with Sagat. Sagat's giant scar on his chest is from Ryu going dark.
Is when he like gets the first taste of the murderous intent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and that's like why he's like on his journey. He's always meditating because he does not want to be consumed by the Dark Hado. Yeah, Kage is him being consumed by the Dark Hado.
So he's an alternate Earth Ryu.
I actually don't kind of like really know. Like I think Kage looks super stupid, and
he looks like baby Akuma.
Yeah, he looks bad, and so like I don't really I didn't even like really look at the story enough to like figure out like what his like deal is.
Yeah. No, we can get into this movie, but like it's so the whole movie, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's an hour and 41 minutes. That's probably including the
That is including
credits.
credits. I checked. It's really an hour and 35.
Yeah. So we can do a countdown and get into this. I saw this years, like maybe like 20 years ago was the last time I seen this.
I have never seen this movie.
I saw this probably about 5 years ago. Again, I've seen this movie like quite a few times.
Yeah, that's where I was like, I think that they do the thing with Sagat, or at least talk about it in this.
It's like the very opening.
Yeah. All right. So John Scott, if you want to cut us down, we're at 000.
All right, y'all. We're gonna hit play and gonna throw some Hadoukens in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So it starts off kind of silent. Capcom logo.
Oh, that's a cool ass logo.
So like the ending of Street Fighter 1, like the game, the arcade game, is this scene where Sagat is like the final boss. And,
yeah, because he's the champion that's been around for forever.
Yeah. And Ryu they fight him in a field, and
Ooh, this is an awesome song that we're kicking in here.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I like the little like early 90s guitar.
Sounds very Eye of the Tiger.
So fun fact, this studio that worked on this movie also did a handful of episodes of Superman the Animated Series.
Oh, fuck yes.
That's awesome.
Fuck
I could not tell you which episodes, but it lists them as several episodes on their wiki page.
Now, what are you guys watching? Because I'm watching the dub.
I'm watching the dub.
I'm watching the dub.
I'm a.
There are like Japanese like
yeah
things up here, but I can hear it. It's very obviously a dub.
Yeah, I think it'd be too hard for me to pay too much attention to the sub.
I think the dub is great, also.
Yeah, usually I only have problems with dubs if I've heard the Japanese one first, and then when I watched an English one, and the voices don't match what I think. Which is very few where like I cannot watch the dub. And one of them is like one of my favorite shows, Log Horizon. I cannot watch the dub. I hate it. It's so bad. Like I hate the voice they do for one of the characters. Cause he's a cat man. And so like all his things have like cat puns on them. But for some reason in the dub, they made him like have a bad Southern accent.
Name, Ryu, strength, a fuck ton.
This movie's very dark right now.
Oh yeah, they're fighting in a field in a thunderstorm.
Yeah, so Sagat is supposed to be Thai, right? He's a Muay Thai fighter.
He's a Muay Thai fighter from Thailand, yes.
And Ryu's Japanese.
Yep.
And Sagat's the largest Thai man on Earth, as we just saw Tony Jaa, who's actually Thai, who's like 5'1".
So fun fact, the voice of Ryu in this dub is Skip Stellrich, who also voiced Vicious in Cowboy Bebop.
Oh,
I have Hank Smith. Okay.
Yeah.
Who goes under Skip. Okay.
Yeah. Goes over like a couple different pseudonyms.
I'm looking who else is in this cast.
yeah, because if I remember correctly, unlike in the live-action movies, in the canon of the games, Sagat's a good guy, Zangief's a good guy. The villains are Bison, Vega,
Balrog.
Balrog.
Oh god.
Yeah, they pretty much swap Balrog and Sagat for being good guys and bad guys.
There we go. He gave him the scar.
Oh, this is so 90s with that like super red blood. But I can see Superman animated series in Ryu's face. But this is reminding me of like some real early 90s anime that I've seen.
The guy who voices Ken does a lot of stuff for Power Rangers in terms of the villains.
Wait, Bryan Cranston does a voice in this?
No. I said a lot, not 2 episodes.
No. I said Bryan Cranston is a credited voice in this movie.
Oh, you're serious?
Yes.
As who?
Fei Long. So he's the voice.
Oh my god.
He's the voice of the Bruce Lee character?
Wait a fucking minute.
Oh, and the guy who does Alright, so you want to talk about I'm looking, so Steve Blum, he's the voice of T-Hawk in this.
Okay, that was a dope intro. What a dope intro.
What a dope intro.
So the guy who does T-Hawk in this is the voice of Zeberillios in Rebels, the purple guy, Spike Spiegel in Cowboy Bebop.
Oh yeah, he's
Starscream in Transformers Prime.
Stephen Bloom.
Yeah, Stephen Bloom,
he's Wolverine, Wolverine the X-Men.
Yeah.
He's like that guy you always recognize.
Oh, I have not seen like a 90s anime in so long.
Is that?
This is like very OG Gundam to me. Like, the way it looks. I run around in a swimsuit.
Oh shit, it's Cammy!
I love the character design. Like, it's very iconic, but it is like the most insane thing for a character to be running around in.
Oh, yeah.
It is very 90s X-Men Psylocke.
Oh, what a shot. What
a butt shot.
Yeah.
And she just snapped that dude's neck.
Yeah.
It is kind of, it's like super progressive to have like this female character doing all this. That's not pornographic.
I love how everyone's wearing.
I'm a special agent, but I'm wearing this like very culturally like strange Chinese outfit.
Yeah,
because I mean she's Chinese.
Mm-hmm. That Chun-li is Chinese, right?
Yes.
Remember, Shadowlaw, not Shadaloo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cammy is Scottish or Irish, I think.
She's English.
Okay, I didn't know if she was like just like British, and then she's actually like.
Yeah, Cammy's whole deal is that she was a doll that was like mind controlled by Bison to do a bunch of shit, but then she ends up like, regaining her own control. She loves cats, and she works with Chun-Li a lot.
Okay, so she's Nightcrawler from X-Men 2.
Yeah.
So the voice of Chun-Li also voiced Judy in Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
I'm not like these are all imagine, like that's like all the 90s like big 90s anime like
I imagine because this is, if I were to like guess, this is probably a Pioneer dub. Because like the original Cowboy Bebop dub was by Pioneer, I believe.
Okay,
Pioneer used like all the same people.
This like 90s cheese guitar is so awesome.
So it is from SMV Enterprises. So Sony did this.
Okay.
Oh my god, Guile looks fucking preposterous, and I love it. But I love, like, yeah, in the game and stuff, like, Guile's like a very secondary character.
Still considered like a. I think
I'm going to kick Bison's ass.
I mean, he was a character created for the American market.
Yes.
So, like, Guile, I think, is like way more popular here than he is in Japan.
And I feel like he's basically designed to be Schwarzenegger.
He's based off of Jean-Pierre Polnareff from JoJo.
Brushhead. What an insult. Brushhead.
Wait, which character is that in JoJo?
From part 3, when they're going around Egypt.
Oh, I haven't gotten there yet. I have to get back to JoJo.
And there's a guy who has like he basically has like a haircut that goes super high up. His name is Jean-Pierre Polnareff.
It's funny, like, when I was growing up, I was a big, like, fighting game person, and I'm I can't get into it too much. And I always buy like, especially the Dragon Ball Z one. I own what's the Shonen? I own Shonen Jump.
Jump
The
Shonen
Force.
Jump was my
Jump
jam.
Force, yeah. But like I just can't get into like besides I play the Injustice games just for the story, which is funny because like I think we could kind of talk about like the rumors that what do you call it, NetherRealm is making a Marvel game.
That's the rumor.
I'm not looking forward to that at all.
I think
NetherRealm what NetherRealm sells as a fighting game is what I do not want out of my Marvel property.
I said the only thing I would like is if it was like Secret Wars, and then we could just do like kind of like all different versions, or if they just did like Spider-Verse.
Like, I already saw like a dark Marvel fighting game called Marvel Rise of the Imperfects. Like, I do not need to see another version of that.
Oh, that is the name of that, and it's so bad.
Okay, this is bonkers. The guy who plays Guile voices Gabumon in Digimon the movie. And try.
So, is Bison supposed to be Russian, or is he just like ambiguous dictator? Or is he supposed to be like?
And he's
Chinese?
also high in Yu Yu Hakusho.
Wait, he's who in Yu Yu Hakusho?
Hiei. The guy with the
Hiei.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's the emo boy.
He's old emo boy himself, and then he's Kisame Hogisaki in Naruto.
He's the shark, right?
Yes.
Kisame is the shark guy.
Bison's birthplace is unknown.
I'm looking on Wiki. It says Thailand. It says Bangkok.
Well, it says like Shadowloo have bases.
Okay.
Like
Let
everywhere.
me tell you, this Bison looks cool, but he's not Raul Julia. Working through stomach cancer.
Oh man, your 90s evil scientist guy.
I want to know how much Bison bucks go for in the year 2021.
Oh my god, they made a cyborg?
Basis of Seth.
Dude, Vega is such a fun design. Like, Balrog is kind of like, I know what they're going for. I will forgive some Japanese racism, but like, it's kind of a boring design. Like, it's too similar to Sagat. Bison's kind of interesting that he's in this like unitard with cuffs and a cape. He's very like Doctor Doom or Magneto-esque. Oh my god, his power level's over 3,000.
How much is his power level? 1. Alright. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I had the scour upside down.
Yeah. Yeah, Bison's like voiced by the guy who voiced Jet Black from Bebop.
That's dope.
Yeah, it sounded like Keith David for a second. But it's not. It's Tom Wire.
Who's like also just like again, like all these people like show up in like all these different
everything.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in one of my favorite.
Wait,
like
I'm
emo,
waiting for.
He's in 2 of my favorite emo animes from the early 2000s.
Is this where Fei Long shows up and we get to hear Bryan Cranston?
No,
because he does. He's in Gungrave and he's in Wolf's Rain, and Gungrave is like your aggro, like Hot Topic emo, and Wolf's Rain is like your cry emo anime. Oh, and he's in Witch Hunter Robin. That's some more. These are all like he's in like all the 15-year-old Lou watching like really dark and like moody anime shit. Oh my god. All right, we missed his number 1 credit. He is the voice of Grimlock from the Transformers TV show.
Oh boy.
So at this point in canon, is Ken half Japanese or is he still American?
No idea.
So at some point, Ken went from being like American to being half Japanese, half American, and he dyes his hair blonde, I believe.
He's half Japanese.
Oh,
Yes.
that Ryu fighting move, the back and forth on the feet. Love it. Is that Fei Long or
Which character? The one
The one-
talking?
yeah, that was Fei Long,
No,
right?
no.
That's
The one
Go.
talking is Go. He's the guy that
That's
what's his
Goken.
name who played Liu Kang played in Chun-Li.
Oh, Gao or whatever.
Yeah.
No, that's Goken.
Okay.
Goken is the brother of Akuma. He's the one that taught them, everything
Listen,
they know.
I'll be honest. I shut Chun-Li out of my head.
The old guy you're thinking about is Gen, who teaches Chun-Li and Yun and Yang.
Oh, okay. I blended them together.
Yeah, there's a couple old masters that show up in Street Fighter.
This is some hilarious lazy 90s animation where it's just like a pan. The animation is them just panning. Oh, and Ken is driving a Porsche and being a
Listening to
douche.
not Pearl Jam.
And listening to Pearl Jam / Nirvana, maybe?
Oh, and he's gonna rip a crazy turn.
Or maybe Creed?
Oh, no,
It sounds like Creed.
No, this is
way
this is
before.
like 70% different even flow.
Yeah, it's either Even Flow or it's like first album of oh my god, I can't remember. He died. I keep thinking the other band he had, Velvet Revolver, but what's
That's Velvet Revolver.
yeah, but the lead singer was in a band before that. Stone Temple Pilots. That's who I was thinking of.
I really like Eliza. She's just like this really cool wife who's willing to let her husband go off and do a bunch of shit. Oh, this is the Fei Long scene.
Yeah, he's Bruce Lee.
Yes.
All right, so we gotta be quiet because this is Bryan Cranston.
And he's fight.
That is a very very
Right.
90s
If Bryan Cranston was doing anime work, or if he was working on Power Rangers, he most definitely was doing other voiceover anime work.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
He's done a couple of them. Hang on one second. I can look it up. That's definitely him.
Oh, it's 100% him. So this is 91, right? Or is this 92?
He did the English dub for Mole Diver
94.
for an episode. He did Super Dimension Century Orgus 2, Tekkaman Blade, Macross Plus, Eagle Riders.
Yeah, this is years before he even he did his next big thing was the Louis show, which I'm guessing is Louis Anderson.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm looking right now to see what he did.
Watch it, listen to him just do Bruce Lee.
Yeah, his next big thing. This is before he was even on Seinfeld.
Huh?
Around the time when he first showed up.
Looking at what he did for the film. He did Royal Space Force, the movie.
Like, choreography of these fights is like pretty good.
Yeah. The sound effects are like they're so realistic that it's actually kind of like not great, if you know what I mean. Although that shoulder dislocation was good. Yeah, I don't remember Fei Long's special attacks. It's like fire, isn't it?
He does like a flame kick.
Yeah. Is he releasing his arcane?
Boo.
I forgot, like, that we watched the movie. I was like, oh, we should talk about it. I'm like, oh, wait, we literally did it last week.
Which, have any of our episodes gone out yet for the video game trilogy?
Yes. We're like a week ahead.
Okay. And there goes Bryan Cranston out the movie.
He got
Probably.
jumped out.
He's still in it.
I don't, but I guess he's like,
Because here's the thing: like Ryu doesn't want to actually like beat the shit out of people. He just wants to like face the best people and make friends along the way.
Oh, here we go.
so he's Goku.
Yeah.
He's very Goku. He don't know shit.
I love how casual that nope was. You don't know? Nope.
It's also hilarious, like, in this world, which seems to be like current 1994, Ryu just wanders around in a karate gi everywhere. Barefoot.
He just wants to learn the way of the fist. They go their separate ways.
Yeah, I have to look it up now. When did Dragon Ball Z start?
Oh,
Japan
like
Dragon
or
Ball
America?
Z.
1986, 87.
Because like the choreography here is like good, but like I feel like it's a weird thing to compare it to, but like the anime started in 89.
89.
Well, like early Dragon Ball Z is shitty. It's not till they
No, it's not.
No. I mean like the Raditz. Like the Raditz part, and once they get to like Namek, that's when the show actually starts.
The Raditz fight's cool though. Like
I mean, once Vegeta, once the Saiyans show up, then it's good.
Yeah, hold on. Don't you just Nappa?
But like also like
No.
the adventureness of like the original Dragon Ball is like really good.
Oh, the original Dragon Ball is awesome. I just mean like until like the Saiyans get there, it's like really goofy and like doesn't have the best like looking stuff, and then oh my god,
E-Hawk.
oof.
Hey Steve
Oof.
Blue.
Oof, this is oof. Who's gonna be more racist, T-Hawk or Balrog? Which in canon hasn't Ken always beaten Ryu?
Ken is the canonical winner of Street Fighter 3. I think he might be the canonical winner of Street Fighter 2 also. But
because he has he's not as good of a fighter,
Ryu's
but
not
he has
really Ryu's not really in it to win the tournament. Ryu's just
but it's something like because Ken is like better in touch with his emotions makes him a better fighter. Although he's not as skilled as Ryu. He didn't say the thing.
Ken is like, I mean, like,
oh, it's a Kamehameha. I should have guessed like Dragon Ball was first because they completely rip off Kamehamehas. Like, it is the same thing.
I mean Hadokens, yeah, I guess, but like
It's the same stance. It's the same hands.
it's like funny, like in a series that like maybe doesn't have like the well, definitely has a lot of like kind of questionable um
Interpretations of
like
races.
like nationalities. Like for some reason, like I feel like T-Hawk is like the one that I don't know. Maybe it's because T-Hawk's nationality is like Native American and also Mexican, and maybe I just don't hear many as people complaining about like the representation of like Dulcian. But T-Hawk is never like really, no one ever really turned the page on T-Hawk.
Well, this is the same time period of like what's his name on the X-Men. This is actually after the first one dies too. Warpath.
Yeah, this is after
Or Thunderbird or whatever.
This is after This is very much after Thunderbird.
Thunderbird, but I think this is around when what's his name joins X-Force. Yeah. Oh
but
shit, it's Akuma.
But it's also just like, there's a Native American in most fighting games. Like Killer Instinct has one, Mortal Kombat has one, Street Fighter has one.
Well, it's because it has like very obvious like media motifs that are very easy to pick out.
Like Tekken has one. Like for the most part, like all of them kind of don't like Julian Tekken became like a esports player, like they which is probably better that they still like treat her as like she's a Native American character without having to be dressed like
stereotypical like caricature.
Stereotype, yeah.
Oh no, she spilled the juice. It is the one thing that is interesting, although they're like very racist, like stereotypical depictions. The fact that they're so multinational, multi-ethnic is a good thing. Like, there's like almost no other games that have like an Indian character, a Native American character, a black character, a Spanish character.
I mean, it's the World Warriors.
Yeah,
like that was the tagline.
It's a Save the Cat moment. Like, I've literally, like, of all the movies we've watched, I think that's the most obvious Save the Cat moment that we've had. Which, do you guys know what I'm talking about? Did I lose you guys?
No, what's the Save
no,
the Cat?
I was gonna say yes, but I forgot I was on mute for a second. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Save the Cat is a book. Let me look up the writer. I know the movie that he wrote. He wrote "Stop or My Mom Will Shoot." But the idea is, in order to show that your hero is a good guy, you have him do something really simple in the beginning of the movie. And the reason it's called Save the Cat is because it's in the beginning of Superman, the movie. He literally have Superman fly over and save a cat from a tree.
Sure, but I also think you had the moment where he's fighting Fei Long, and he noticed that Fei Long was hurt, and he kind of stopped the fight. And Fei Long,
that would be, but it's it's even more obvious when he goes and helps the little girl.
Yeah.
Blake Snyder he's a screenwriter. He wrote a book called Save the Cat. Trying to see if there's a really... It's basically the concept is like, oh, like you have your hero do something to show how virtuous they are. And the idea is like in that Superman, he's a god. And even though he is a god, he still basically will go down and help the smallest of things. Which are some actual like really, really good breakdowns of that scene. Hey, this game also has fat representation in a sumo. Although he's a fat guy with a 6-pack, so so they just use the cyborg as like a stalker, like to like.
Well, he's using the cyborg to like
as
gauge,
a scouter, like Dragon Ball Z scouter.
Yeah. He senses the dark Hado.
I love how he just very kindly told him, "You're not strong enough. Go fuck yourself."
I love the like douchey guitar. It's so fun. You know what this movie is showing me? Why couldn't they just do a live action movie of either Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter like this? Is she gonna get run over by a car? Oh, she got run over by a cyborg.
Well, yeah, you like karate chop that guy in the neck.
Wow. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
It's weird that like my only comment that I think in this movie is like the Foley sound effects could be better for like the punches and kicks.
Yeah.
They're just a little too flat. This does also very much remind me of like old school G.I. Joe cartoons.
Like when you like kind of like also just like watch this and you kind of like think about it, you're like, yeah, I can see like why they thought about G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Well, the guy who made that other thing, who made the movie, never played the games and didn't want to make a fighting game or like a fighting game movie. He would just wanted to make like an action war movie. No, he's in the Blackbird.
Oh, Seattle. What was he? Did they catch DJ drinking some Starbucks?
Like even this evil scientist is like a very like 90s anime. So wait, that scene cut to have them go from one video room to a different video room?
I think this is like a more secure room. Oh, Ken was fighting T-Hawk in Seattle?
Yeah. He's an American.
He's an American in America.
It's like kind of neat that like Ken Masters and Guile are both like, I mean, Guile more than Ken, but like they're both American characters who aren't like, you know, Bandit Keith from like Yu-Gi-Oh, where they're just like
Guile's pretty close.
Guile is pretty close, but you know, it's like you don't see Guile like his initial costume is him like wearing like a American do-rag with an American like
no, well, he's like American military style,
Yeah.
but like yes, like Ken is very much like from the All Might school, or like All Might's from the Ken Masters school of anime characters. Oh god, the psycho power.
Oh, the psycho power is so good.
Bison's an evil Professor X. I love how like insane that like absolutely unnecessary his chair is. So Cammy's a cyborg, or a cyborg
Cyborg has like infiltrated.
Interpol?
Yeah.
All this CGI.
So why is Interpol having a Chinese lady interview an agent?
Because Chun-Li is an agent of Interpol.
It's just like I get why they're in their costumes so that you know who they are, but it's just like it makes like no sense why like Sagat and Vega are just shirtless behind Bison. It's like, oh, Bison is this evil guy who likes to surround himself with really ripped dudes, and they're not allowed to wear shirts.
If you had like a really cool snake tattoo that covered all of your biceps and chest, wouldn't you want to flaunt it?
Oh, see, like in my mind, this is like instead of like the evil mastermind surrounding himself by like hot chicks, Bison's just like loves surrounding himself by hot dudes, and it's like an interesting like. I don't know. I find it a fun way to read it that he's just like that's his like evil.
God, what a perfect design for Chun-Li.
Yeah, it's like he has a male harem. It's like.
Move your cute little butt.
It'd be better if she said, "My butt's. Do you think my butt's cute?" So who's Guile pissed about?
Guile is searching for Bison. Guile is searching for Bison for the same reason he's searching for him in the movie, in like the American movie, where Bison killed Charlie, his best friend, and he wants revenge against Bison.
But Charlie is not Blanca. Charlie is the character, the other fighter from the game, right?
Charlie is Nash.
Nash, right? Okay, that's us.
Blanca is
just Blanca.
Not Charlie. Blanca is. Oh my god.
How do they even explain Blanca? He's a monster.
Jimmy. Jimmy is Blanca's like real name. And he's like Blanca is just like, I think, just looks that way.
So he's just magically green.
So the end of Street Fighter 2, he reunites with his mother. She addresses him. It was his birth name, Jimmy, and reveals that she gave him the anklets before he was in a plane crash as a little boy. The crash caused him to grow up in the wild, although he has connections to a local village. So basically, he grew up in the jungle.
He's Tarzan.
He turned him green, and he got electric abilities.
So he's Tarzan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's gonna fight DJ now.
Oh god, is DJ gonna be more racist than...
Oh man, I wish they had his pants said maximum on them.
Oh my god.
I love DJ because DJ
I like this hip hop.
DJ just joins the tournament so he could travel the world and become a better musician.
I like this hip hop though. It's very fun. Oh my god, the cyborg is thugged out.
I love like all these like Final Fight looking guys he's beating up too.
Why is he barefoot?
Hey man, if you shoot stuff from your legs, you gotta feel the earth, man.
Mm.
Jesus. Did you guys see that on his shirt?
No, what it's.
I like how they're just like, oh, the cyborg's literally like this guy here.
Yeah.
No, wait, what did it say on his shirt?
It said Jesus.
On the cyborgs?
Yeah. Oh, it's a club called Roxy. Oh, that's so good. Because like Roxy is like a
The LA club.
Like, huh?
Roxy was like a real club in LA.
Oh, because like there's a character you fight in Final Fight named Roxy and Poison becomes a character in Street Fighter later.
Oh, so the guy who does DJ is you said Jet Black, and then in Cowboy Bebop, he's also they just pointed the camera at her crotch. Interesting.
And her boobs.
It has a vagina and boobs. I don't understand. It's not fun to look at shirtless. Bison's just jealous of Chun-Li's dress.
Oh, he's sending Vega after her.
But he's also the voice of Barrett in Advent Children.
Oh yeah, and they also kept that from the movie, or the movie kept it from the game, where Chun-Li is like looking for Bison because Bison killed her father.
Oh, and
the last time I killed.
But in this version, Bison does remember killing her.
Yeah,
remember.
And the guy who does DJ's voice also does the voice of the Rikage in Naruto, who's Killer Bee's like brother.
I was gonna say something like, "Man, the last time I killed Chun-Li's father, I had an Irish accent on."
Okay, I got something to confess about this movie. I watched this maybe when I was like 8-9 years old.
This is like kind of very grown up for that age.
Because I found it at Blockbuster. I was a huge Street Fighter fan, and I was like, Street Fighter the movie? And it's like, and it's like animated? Like, I gotta see this.
God. Like, Balrog looks insane.
Man.
Balrog's insane looking.
Balrog is such a cool character too. I love Balrog. Like, not just like in this movie. I like Balrog as a character in general.
This is the Vega fight?
No. If I remember, this is the Zangief Blanca fight.
Okay. Wait, but this is like. Why can't we just get a live action movie like
God!
this?
Zangief
Not even
looks so
that. This
fucking
is
cool.
this is the same ring announcer for the tournaments in DBZ.
Oh
But
man.
apparently, in 2018, the people who made Assassin's Fist entered negotiations to do a TV show, a live action one. So who knows what's going on with that?
Yeah, I'd watch like a Street Fighter TV show. I mean, like, I don't trust Capcom, like the people who are running Capcom, to do like something good with it after Monster Hunter. But
Who has better?
Maybe my tone will change once I see like what they're doing with the Resident Evil stuff.
Real question: who has better chest hair, Blanca or Zangief?
Oh, Zangief, because he has it on his chest. He has it on his fucking like legs, like his like shin legs.
What is that? I don't even know how to describe that. Zangief just like made Balrog pop his shirt open.
Because Bison are because Balrog is he's the Mad Bull. He's the wild buffalo. He sees like a tough guy and he wants to beat him. Oh yeah, and Zangief's
that's an actual move.
I remember the last time I saw Zangief, he was telling people that just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy.
Yeah, he needs to grab Blanca and put him between his legs and crush his head like Sparrow's egg. Oh boy, you guys!
So
This is like the moment of like blew the mind of like 9-year-old John Seiler.
Oh God.
Is this sexy naked Chun-li?
Is this the moment that set John Seiler down on the path he's on now?
Like, I was like, wait, what? There's like nudity in the Street Fighter movie? And this is like after like watching people being like shot to death.
I'm still like, I did not remember that. So we got Chun-li butt.
I've never seen this movie, so
I'm assuming that's who this is, right?
Oh yeah, this is Chun-li. This is also like this not to like boast this up. Like I don't want to boast this up more than I need to. But like this scene, like this whole like 3-4 minute long scene is like fucking iconic. Not for just this. I swear, not for just this.
It's going on. This shower scene's going on for so long. Is this her fighting Vega?
Yeah, this is the Vega fight.
Oh shit! I did not know we were gonna get like full frontal nudity.
I mean, upper frontal, not full frontal.
Well, yeah. Well, we got butt. I was not expecting boobs.
I'm just imagining Lil John Seiler getting this from the rental store and being like, I want to rent this tonight, and having no idea what it is.
This is one of those things where like a fetish is born.
Well, like this was like I found in the anime aisle. Like after I watched like everything in like the kids section, you know, you walk around the store and
like,
you find like
yeah, and your parents see like, oh, it's a cartoon, so it's fine.
Yeah, like that's how I watched I watched Ranma 1/2 around this time. Like
there's a lot of nudity.
Oh my god, I tried renting it.
Ranma 1/2 is like basically like the show that like basically like kind of changed my life. Like that show is like an all-timer and like basically is like what made me fall in love with anime.
I tried renting a Tenchi Muyo movie and a Yu Yu Hakusho movie from the Blockbuster, and the goddamn clerk stopped me and told my parents, "Hey, he's too young to watch this." And I looked at him like, "What's wrong with you?"
Like Yu Yu Hakusho, you were probably fine.
Yeah,
the Tenchi Muyo.
You probably saw someone's butt in that movie. Like,
yeah.
That's not that big of a deal.
Tenchi Muyo I already saw on Toonami, so it's like,
oh damn, she's got a nice like look, like stereo setup.
Yeah, I know.
Hipsters would be mad jealous.
I love that you just like, yeah, it's got a nice stereo setup.
No, I was trying to I wanted to say I can't remember if it's like lo-fi or hi-fi.
Someone out there is very excited because they just saw Chun-Li's feet.
Think about that. Well, I mean, you'll.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna regret saying this, but it's like you see more of her feet.
I know. Someone out there is probably just like, yes.
So she goes to bed in her buns.
I mean, she's got that down to a science now.
This is also very sexy time music.
This is also just animated very well. Like they spent a lot of time on this.
All I'm thinking of is there are scenes in this that I'm like, oh yeah, this reminds me when I saw Ninja Scroll way too young.
God, this fight's so fucking hype.
I like that Guile's driving a Mustang.
God, the song playing.
It's very fun, butt rock. Oh, there was camel toe drawn. I love when they add they do moves because the slide kick is one of his moves.
Yeah.
It is interesting how blonde they make him because I guess in my head I don't picture him being that blonde.
Okay.
Because he is French, right? He's not. I mean, he's Spanish. He's not French, right?
He's Spanish.
Yeah.
He's Spaniard, not.
Yeah, he's Spanish, from Spain. He's not Hispanic or Latino. I guess he would still be Hispanic, but he's not Latino. He just kicked her into tits. Jesus. It is a good choreographed fight, but it's also very male gazy.
Yeah. Nobody makes me bleed my...
That is very 90s anime.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody.
I'm gonna chuck a couch at you, you bastard. Oh, she said the thing. Oh, that's a fetish.
Okay, I literally thought she was gonna snap his neck right there.
Oh, I thought he was going to drive the car up the building.
That's what I thought too. I thought he was going to drive the car either up the building or just through the building.
Such a motif. Oh, the elevator's taking too long. I'm just going to run and be tired when I get up there.
All right, this is a dope ass fight.
It is a dope fight. It's just it's so goofy that it's while she's in her bra and panties.
Yeah.
But it is amazingly choreographed. She's doing the kick.
Oh.
That was awesome.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
So he's dead, right?
Well, he doesn't come back in the movie.
She kicked him out of a fifth-story building?
She literally kicked him out of the movie.
Was that an elevator shaft or just the outside building?
I think she kicked him out of the building.
She kicked him out of a building.
She kicked him out of the building and out of the movie.
Really? I thought the 3 scratches were for some other guy. Although I have to say, like, this is a more cohesive plot than any Street Fighter movie I've ever seen.
It's like it's also like a movie that handles like all these characters, and they all kind of like have like their big moment, and like sure, like Zangief and Blanca show up for like maybe like 2 seconds, and it's only for them to like fight, and
like, unless they'll see him and E Honda come back, them too.
Honda does come back, but it's like they're juggling. Like they have like all the characters from Super Street Fighter 2, I believe, minus Akuma, and they handle them all like pretty well. And everyone has like,
Akuma was there.
Moment to be cool.
They didn't. Akuma was in one of the scenes.
Okay. But like everyone has like their moment to be like really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like sure, like I don't think we see Chun-Li really for like the rest. Holy shit!
This is a real song. It's Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah.
I called it. Did I say that earlier? And he's legit listening to Stone Temple Pilots. How did they?
No. This is Alice in Chains.
Is this Alice in Chains?
So let me tell you who's. No, hang on. Let me tell you who's on the soundtrack. Korn, Alice in Chains, Silverchair, In the Nursery, Black Note, KMFDM, Smoking Suckers with Logic.
Wait,
this is definitely Alice in Chains.
Was the song that
DJ?
that Vega and Charlie were fighting to? That had to have been Korn.
Korn was Blind.
I don't know that song. This is a big hit.
It was Korn's like very first song from their debut album.
Yeah. So, but like this song in this scene is like a hit. This was like a top 10 in the world.
So then this is Them Bones by Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. It was not Korn Blind. It must have been like Silverchair or something else.
Yeah, because then you have KMFDM.
Have you guys seen like the DBZ movie dubs that Funimation did that had like Disturbed and Dragon
and Godsmack? Yes, I do remember.
Oh yes.
One of them had a Slow Roosevelt. It was in the Broly movie. What a great! I miss those.
Well, they had to do a lot of that because they had to like go over music that was stolen too.
Yeah, I really like the friendship of Ryu and Ken. Capcom truck. Sorry, babe. I was just really into Alice in Chains.
I was totally just thinking about my friend, and that one time we made a deep connection in the mountains.
Listen, babe, it's guy love between two guys, okay?
It's just like, it is interesting, like in any sort of like an anime thing that like the bad guy doesn't have like a female like subordinate. That his 3 subordinates are all dudes and they're always shirtless.
Well, so
for the time period, it's interesting.
So Bison has the dolls, and that's like Cammy, Julie, Juri, not Julie,
well, and he's like
it's Julie, Junie, and and they don't, but they're not like that's like a thing that's like not like really delved upon until like the alpha games.
Yeah. So, which one is his daughter? Because that's the one in the Chun-Li movie. That's a character in the games.
So there's Rose.
I think it's Rose. Is his daughter?
Rose is not his daughter. Rose is like, if I remember this right, because I'm not like super on top of Rose, but she is like the physical manifestation of the good that Bison once had.
Okay, and that's what they do in that shitty Chun-Li movie. Is that she's kind of that.
That's why like
kills her.
That's why like Rose's power, like all of her moves are like like soul powered and like
They're
the
like
reason why-
sort of psycho power, but they're a little different.
yeah.
So have they just been in this plane the whole movie, like Bison?
Yeah.
He's just in
Pretty
the
much.
Blackbird.
Hey man, you don't gotta do shit that like you could send subordinates after.
Oh, he just noticed that there's a plane flying like 12 feet above him. It'd be kind of easy to escape that plane. You just like stop your car and then turn around. He's getting abducted by aliens.
Prepare to be probed. What? I don't know. Look at him with his cape.
He's very Magneto.
So he's relation to Rose. Rose has a strong hatred for Bison due to his immortal actions. Before M. Bison pursued Psycho Power, he was once Rose's master and passed down his knowledge of Soul Power onto her. With his Psycho Power being the dark side of Soul Power, she seeks to stop him despite not wanting to do so due to their previous relationship.
Hmm.
So completely unrelated to this movie. Did anyone watch Mitchell's versus the Machines yet?
No, I just saw like
yeah,
a thing
it's
about
great.
it. It
It's
looks
great.
interesting.
It's
very good.
fantastic. You all need to watch it.
Maybe I'll
I've
watch it
watched
tomorrow.
It's very good.
Sorry, I know we're
Okay.
talking about Street Fighter, but I had to ask.
I just keep looking at like, I don't know if it's me that I'm like been in an X-Men mood, but I feel like they ripped off a lot of Magneto motifs with Bison.
Oh, 100%.
With like the floating and the red and the fuchsia and him grandstanding. It's very Magneto. I do think it's funny. Ken is the only character that's not in his game costume right now. He's the only person that dresses appropriately for the real world. Like everybody else doesn't wear shoes or shirts.
Bison and his design were inspired by Wakikaze, a villain from the manga and anime Rikio, and Yasunori Kato, the antagonist from the fantasy film Tokyo: The Last Mega Apocalypse. His shin guards are based off the style used in the Universal Wrestling Federation of Japan during the 1980s.
Well, a lot of his like design is very reminiscent of like Soviet, and like Soviet Russia, Communist China kind of stuff. Like it's that kind of weird, like pseudo militaristic.
Like, I'm gonna post up the like this is the poster for Mega Apocalypse.
Oh wow, yeah, that's the hat. But with the star and stuff, I still think that's like very. And I would not be surprised if China did like a thing where like, I mean, Japan did a thing to make like a kind of communist China like motif as the villain. This guy gonna comb his hair.
This is Rikio.
Oh, yeah, and that's definitely a thing on China. It's gotta be. Which is definitely something you see in a lot of like, especially at this era, Japanese like of this era of anime, is a lot of like subtle digs at China.
That line delivery was about as bad as the one guy from the Street Fighter movie, the original. Captain, to do that, it would be insane.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Nash lines from like Legend Chun-li.
I mean, that's bad too, but I'm talking about the really bad line delivery from the original.
Yeah, here, I'm going to share a picture, and I think you can tell me, like, if I'm wrong in this. So this is like a Chinese military uniform of that era.
Yeah.
Like enemies for, like, today still. Like, yeah, it's like Street Fighter did what Demon's Son did. They just traced.
I mean,
It's an homage.
If not 100,000 times, the difference between plagiarism.
Well, yeah, and Street Fighter is
like,
also very
Rose,
like it's satire-y.
Well, and and that's not even the only JoJo thing. Like, Rose is designed after Lisa Lisa. Which, if you've been watching JoJo, you've seen Lisa Lisa. She's in like part 2.
Lisa Lisa. Like the artist Lisa Lisa? Like the musician? Or are you talking about in JoJo? Okay, hold on. There was a musician named Lisa Lisa in the 80s.
Well, and then Lisa Lisa is also named after Lisa Lisa, the artist.
Oh, the one with the scarf. Yes. Yeah, I've seen Lisa Lisa. I just want to know, are they going to beat up a car?
And then, this is Rose.
So he has Ken naked. Okay, I think there's a very different reading of this movie with Bison about him collecting, like, very attractive men and making sure that they're mostly naked around him.
You can't steal a fighter's spirit through his clothes. You got to get him in his skivvies.
You can only suck it out one way. Oh my god, are they doing the thing from...
Are they trying to make him violent, Ken?
I think they're trying to do the thing from the Street Fighter, the live-action movie with Blanca. His hair is less blonde, so that's how you know he's bad.
Violent Ken is also, like, totally a thing.
Oh, yeah. And he could only do this when he's naked.
This is the form Ken has taken after being brainwashed and controlled by M. Bison's psycho power. It's totally Violent Ken.
All I hear in my head is Kakarot, and he's just going into becoming super brawly. This is a fun movie, though. Like, the pacing is so good because, like, I don't even know how much time we have left.
Like, not much.
We have a half hour.
20 minutes, half hour, and we've had like 10 fights. There have been more fights in this than than the 2 Mortal Kombat movies combined.
And they're like 2 or 3 minute fights, but they really get their shit in,
Yeah. You can see everyone's fighting style. Been following, like, Ryu. Now he's rock climbing for reasons.
Okay, so I'm looking on the Street Fighter fandom. Violent Ken's design and backstory were heavily influenced by Ken's appearance in Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, where he was brainwashed by M. Bison. He was designed to be the contrast of how he would be normally, lusting for power just like evil Ryu, and having no empathy for others, even the ones he cares about.
So he's Majin Ken?
Yeah, he's basically like, Yeah, it's like
I'm just gonna draw the similarities because like I know so much more. Oh my god, there is a very, very different way to read this movie.
I mean, like I don't know, man. I think you maybe could, but like I've always read Ken and Ryu as just being like brothers. Like,
Oh yeah, but I mean, like, if you get rid of like in this movie, like, there's definitely like between the
Ken,
two of them and Bison with all the shirtless men and naked Ken, like,
yeah,
and
sure, and you know, Ken being married is not necessarily an idea that's like, well, he can't be gay. He's married, but it's like Ken really does love his wife, and he really does love their kid.
it's just like, so we have two female characters in this movie. We saw one in 10 seconds and she's been gone, and the other one, yes, we saw her pretty much completely naked, and now she's gone from this movie. And there's no other female characters. It's just the battle of the buff dudes.
Well, no. So you have Eliza, you have Cammy, Chun-Li, and then you had the young girl carrying the milk.
Chun-Li's in a hospital, and Cammy hasn't been in this movie in over an hour.
And then you had the girl carrying the milk.
Yes, the child.
I mean, like, and that's also just like a problem with like Street Fighter 2, where they only have two female fighters.
Well, it's also like it's definitely not what they're going for, but there's definitely like, because of the misogyny, there's a way to read this movie as being like very gay in like a fun way. Like I'm just like it's a very fun thing. It's like, oh, and like Bison is surrounded by these two very strapping, tall, large.
God, I love that Shadowloo emblem of like the skull with the wings.
Mm-hmm. See, now I'm remembering. I don't know if I've ever seen this. I think I've only seen the actual show that like came after this, like the TV show that followed this. Because like what my memory of Sagat is very different.
The American TV show that's like G.I. Joe.
Yeah, and I think Sagat's a good guy in that.
Yeah, well, it's like funny because Sagat's like a good guy now. Like that's why he's not one of the four pillars. And
well, I think their like canon was like he went bad because he got embarrassed by Ryu.
Well, no, he was bad before.
Okay, I thought it was the other way around.
And then he like gets beaten by Ryu, and then like he like his fighter's pride like wants him to like try and beat Ryu again, and I think they do fight again. But essentially, like something kind of happens between his fight with him and Ryu, where he kind of like has like a lack of a better term, like come to Jesus moment, where he
that was literally the term I was going to use.
And then so like he's like in Street Fighter 5, he's basically just like meditating in Thailand, and he actually has like a tiger with him.
So here's my question. What was the worst game, Street Fighter 5 or Street Fighter Cross Tekken?
Because like Cross Tekken actually plays like I don't know, man. I think both games like have like their big pros and their big cons, and I wish like Cross Tekken did not have if it did not have the gem system, that game would be great, and people would be still playing that game to this day. You know, but with Street Fighter 5, if they just put like a little bit more work into it and like didn't rush its like release date, like that game would have been way better received.
I think the one problem Street Fighter is having that like Mortal Kombat kind of figured out, I think it was in 9 or I think it was in 8 or 9, maybe 9, that they brought over, or maybe it was even Injustice, is like the gear system adds so much replayability for people like to do the grinding.
Well, I'll tell you the big difference between the Mortal Kombat franchise and the Street Fighter franchise, and that's money. Like NetherRealm and by proxy Warner Brothers like spends a lot of money on those games. Like like the budget for Street Fighter 5 and the budget for like Marvel's Capcom Infinite are like minuscule. Like there's like reports that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite's budget was of the same amount of a DLC season of Street Fighter 5.
Oh,
Like, I forgot that game even came out because it's that bad.
And
what
it's
game?
like
in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
And Infinite it's like you can't. It's like
oh my god, Ken looks like a JoJo character.
Yeah,
he looks like Dio. He looks like Dio Brando. I would love if he was like, wait.
And also Honda.
I was gonna say, like, he's like, wait, who are you, fat man?
But Marvel vs. Capcom Ultimate is like, or Infinite rather, is one of the worst games ever played.
Oh yeah, it's horrendous.
You know, it's sad because like I've like there are like people who swear the gameplay of that game is really good. The problem is like the presentation's bad, and the presentation is like everything. Like it's like if you have like shit music, and a shit hub, and a shit announcer, and shit story, like you could have like the best playing game, but like if it's built on a swamp, it'll just sink in.
Well, and plus in a world where there's so many,
we're looping that back in.
There's so many fighting games. There's so many fighting games now, like to stand apart. Because like you have MK, you have Injustice, which that's one company. You have 2 different Dragon Ball games. You have that.
Really, we only have one.
Fighters is huge. Xenoverse still has like a big following.
Xenoverse is not a game that you play competitively though.
No, not competitively. You have the Shonen Jump one, and then you have
and no one plays Jump Force competitively.
No, it's just like the stuff. But like
Jump Force always felt like a game that's more just like it's a fun fan servicey game that just happened to be a fighting game.
What the shit is with that animation on Balrog's face? Okay, tell me I'm not the only one that noticed that he was cross-eyed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was not good. That was not good.
And also, you know why Honda's here, because we need someone for Balrog to fight.
Yeah. Well, I would put Shonen Jump in the same thing that like Marvel vs. Capcom is. Like you're playing it to play as the characters. It just happens to be historically a better game.
My only thing is that
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and 3 by proxy, like Marvel vs. Capcom as a franchise is like one of like the most well-known fighting games in the world. Like there was like a tweet like a year ago from the guy who played Killmonger, and he was like Creed, and he also played Johnny Storm.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan like tweeted out like his love of Marvel vs. Capcom. How he wished there was a new Marvel vs. Capcom. Like that. Like Marvel vs. Capcom is so. Oh hey, it's the Megapolis thing. But yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom.
No, he sent him to the Shadow Realm.
Marvel vs. Capcom is like so massively mainstream, but it's just like for one reason or another, you have Infinite had it could have honestly been a problem with Disney, could have honestly been a problem with Capcom, but for whatever it was, like Infinite was like a giant like mistake on so many levels that really shouldn't have been the way it is. Like there's like no reason why Marvel's Capcom 4 shouldn't like they shouldn't have released that game and had the budget of like a regular like big budget Capcom game and not have been like the biggest release of the year.
Was Marvel vs. Capcom 3 any good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Marvel's Capcom 3 was and Ultimate were really good. The problem was that they released Marvel's Capcom 3, and then they released Ultimate 6 months later.
Yeah, that was bad. I remember that.
So they expected people to double dip so quickly, and then like never updated afterwards. So like again, I don't know like what it was. Could have been the Marvel buyout or whatever reason, but like
that doesn't explain Street Fighter V.
That only just explains Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah,
like,
but I'm saying like Street Fighter V speaks to like it being a Capcom thing, not the Disney Marvel side.
Yes, Street Fighter V's problems I think Yoshihiro Ono like very much outstayed his welcome as head of Marvel's fighting division. Like his time, like the Street Fighter 4 is a good game. Like it has some problems, but by Ultimate, that game is very good. But you know, it was time for new blood to get like involved in the fighting division. But the thing is,
you shouldn't need like all those updates to make your game good. It should just be good when it comes out, and everything else should just keep the life of to keep its life going. And they just like didn't do that.
Yeah,
they're like, we'll put out a thing that's basically it's like not even a beta; it's like an alpha when they released 5.
Yeah,
like there's not like when it first came out because I was still working at GameStop at the time. Like, because I own it because I got a free copy. It's like when I download, I'm like, wait, there's no single player campaign. Like, how do you do like anything where you don't have a single player campaign? Like, you just fight against other characters.
Look, man. Like, if there's like any takeaway you take from this watch party so far, is that I like Street Fighter lore a lot. Like, I'm actually very invested within the story. But like, if
do you remember that one time on the mountain that we were really cold and we held each other?
I'm sorry. There was like that moment where I was like, the rift was like Freak on a Leash from Korn.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like if Capcom doesn't care about the lore of Street Fighter, then why should I care about the lore of Street Fighter?
Yeah.
And that's like the problem with Street Fighter V, where even when they did put a story into Street Fighter V, it's like laughably bad.
Well, that's what's funny if you like to compare the two. It's like NetherRealm like tripled down on the insanity of the lore of Mortal Kombat.
The problem with like the lore of Mortal Kombat is they keep on wanting to reboot the game every other game.
Every other game or every game?
I'm sorry, every game. They want to reboot the lore.
But like it somehow works because it's so like they know what they're doing, like in that it's like so bad it's funny. But like
I think for 10 it works. I think for 11 it's like, okay, you guys, like we gotta move on.
Well, I love that Johnny Cage has kind of become the pseudo lead.
Oh, sure. You know.
But like at least like they're trying, like they're doing, like they're innovating, they're trying stuff, and it feels like Capcom at points just like doesn't.
I mean, it's important to say like right now that Capcom's like
they have had good games come out real recently.
It is turning it around, and all of its divisions have made like a real comeback. The only one that we have like left to have like its redemption arc is Street Fighter and its fighting division, and you know.
Yeah. Well, we hope that when that Resident Evil game drops, that it's good.
Oh,
but don't remember
big titty vampire mummy. Oh, I'm sure that game's great.
Yeah. 9 foot tall, step on you. Like, there's so many TikToks that are like very funny. It's like, I will destroy you, tighter. What? You heard me.
Oh, look at his butt chin.
He's like, you want to touch it? So this is Goken, or this is Ken going to the temple?
Yeah.
Where Goken is.
Yeah, I think like up to this point, Goken is like not like he's like not really a character quite yet. Like there's they have a master, but I think you don't know his name, and you don't really know what he looks like.
And he looks like MK1 Shang Tsung, right? He's just like old Asian guy.
I mean, like he just like kind of like a generic old sensei looking guy who's also kind of buff.
Man, my eyes were red. It's like someone gave me drugs or something.
Throw an image of him in the chat.
Oh, he looks like Asian Zeus.
Yeah.
I actually think it's a terrible design. It's really boring.
I mean, I think that's like kind of the point, you know.
Yeah, it's almost like I hate that he's buff. I think him being like so big and buff is not interesting. Kind of on this, I am almost finished with the last episode of Invincible. Have either of you been watching it?
No, I don't have Amazon Prime. I need to borrow someone's account soon because
I know, Sour, you said you did not like what you saw of the animation. I really like the animation. It is definitely a throwback to like that 2000s era stuff, but like I think it works really well for the material.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch it. It's just a matter of getting the chance.
Well, I have Amazon Prime. I just need to like find out the time to watch it. Like I
think it's like 8 or 9 episodes only, and it got renewed for 2 more seasons.
I saw that.
I still need to watch Castlevania. I still need to watch.
I have not watched that yet. That's on my list.
I still need to watch the last 2 seasons of Infinity Train.
That's on HBO, right?
Yeah, I just finished Close Enough, which was really good, and that's on HBO Max. You know, it's just like you just gotta like fit the time in for certain shows.
Yeah. I've been able to.
I caught up on My Hero Season 5 dub before this, and now I'm like tempted to go start Demon Slayer because the movie's out.
That's one of my lists because like the way my time works during the day, I'm a little scared to watch like something like Invincible on my downtime if someone walks in my door, like at work,
and someone hey, bodies are getting ripped out.
Yeah, that's how I watch like all of Black Clover, and then I've caught up on some other anime. And I'm like, oh, do I want to? Because I haven't watched The Boys yet. I'm like, oh, do I want to watch it? I'm like, I don't think I could watch that at work.
I watch The Boys. I don't like Garth Ennis enough to where I feel like I need to watch it.
He went Super Saiyan. He went Ultra Instinct.
He got himself out of being mind controlled.
I do think like someone that's like not super like I know enough about Street Fighter lore, like I find Ryu to be very boring of like a character. And I think Ken is so much more interesting.
That's like kind of the point, but like I like Ryu, like, you know, he's like kind of generic main character, but like I think his role within the universe is better than say like a Liu Kang or Ryo or Kyosuke or not Kyosuke but Kyo or like other like he's no Terry Bogard because Terry Bogard is basically Ryu and Ken in one character, but like I think for main character, bland protagonist, I think Ryu's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's just like, I think the problem is like, because they're trying to do like this very martial arts heavy thing, like he's a little, because him being so serious makes him like not fun. It's the part of like, I'm going to keep doing it, but like, of like a similar person to like a Goku, like Goku being a moron makes him so much more interesting.
Think of Ryu as like John Cena, where he usually always wins, but like also like he brings the best aspects out of his opponents. So like Zangief's not gonna beat Ryu, but like when Ryu and Zangief fight, it's like the best that Zangief's ever looked. You know.
But what if he fights Vin Diesel?
I mean, like, where are we talking? Like, are we talking like Triple X? Or are we talking like
Fast
Dominic
9,
Toretto? Or are we talking
Fast 9?
Pitch Black?
No, you got John Cena is baby Toretto.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that movie.
I don't want to do that as a watch party.
I mean, if we do a Riddick movie, we should do Chronicles of Riddick because it's
it's way more fun. I've never seen the third one.
Third one's fun.
I heard the third one's bad.
Oh, I like the third one.
The third one's the best one.
Third one brings it back to the horror roots.
Really? Okay, because I played the one game, the original Xbox
In fact,
game.
I would dare say the third movie is basically a remake of Pitch Black.
See, but like I like the corniness.
I thought we were talking about Fast and the Furious. Like,
no,
Riddick. Rick's half bad.
I like Chronicles of Riddick because it's so bonkers. But like Fast and Furious is basically a superhero franchise.
They're gonna like double Shinku Hadoken.
See, what they should do is Ken should Hadoken Ryu, and then his Hadoken will like travel him. That was kind of a boring. I hope that like that's not the end of this. Is that they teamed up and it was like the power of friendship and Hadokens like saved the day.
Yeah, we got 5 minutes left. That was the ending of it.
I think that's kind of a boring ending of this movie. Because basically, E Honda and Balrog fall off of a mountain, and Gaio gets jobbed, and then basically what ends is Ken's mental battle is what saves the day.
Yes, because it's the power of like Ryu and Ken fighting together as brothers save the day.
They're going to tease a sequel, and they're going to find Akuma.
And then Balrog's like, "What am I going to do with all these bison dollars?"
Wow, way to destroy like historical like landmark.
Well, I mean, there's like a hidden base behind there.
You could just like go in it. You didn't have to like nuke it. Jesus Christ, is that necessary?
So funny, like, so they do this movie, and they do 2 Alpha movies, but they never make a Street Fighter 3 movie, which would be super rad because Street Fighter 3 is the best Street Fighter.
Like,
oh boy. I forgot somebody.
The woman on the phone sounded an awful lot like Chun-li.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they even put the horse on there. I'm surprised they got away with this car design without paying for it.
Oh, like, well, Ken Masters like was driving a car that said Porsche on the back.
Yeah, and that was very obviously a Mustang. Yes, because they just leave people like that.
He's in the wrong room.
Or she... I bet I forget, but I bet she's underneath there, and she's like, "Fooled ya."
It's just an old lady.
From the New York Times.
All I keep thinking about this is like, you guys have seen the commercials with Street Fighter with Jackie Chan, right?
What?
Oh my god, you've not seen this? Oh my god, Scott, you.
What is it? Street Fighter with Jackie Chan?
Oh my god, he plays every character.
Oh yeah, no.
So there's a film called City Hunter, and there's like an extended like fight scene in that movie where Jackie Chan and another character get like electrocuted in a arcade, and then they turn into like Honda and Chun-Li, and they get into like a big extended fight.
That's hilarious.
It's like 4 minutes. We should
I've-
watch it when this is done.
I've honestly thought about for like a while, like doing like a big like giant watch of City Hunter, because like City Hunter, like it's like if you want like classic looking 80s anime characters, like that's also a detective show that's also super wackadoo, like City Hunter is it. Like I know if I sat down and watched a big bulk of City Hunter, I would love it.
Yeah, because since this is over, we should. It's only like 4 minutes. Like we can watch this like Jackie Chan thing because it's ridiculous. I need to hear you watching it, Scott, because it's fucking bananas.
And then here's Ryu. You know, like Ken
Back
goes
on the
off
streets walking.
back on the streets walking because he's the world warrior.
It's like
You know?
Rambo.
God, I actually really do love Ryu. I love that he's just continuing on this journey, traveling around, fighting people to become the best fighter, while also like, you know, trying
That's
to
the
discover like the inner demons within himself. What a great movie! What a fucking great movie!
Oh, it just all it tells me is like this could have easily just been immediately translated. Oh my god, it's Bison in a Mack truck. It's Terminator 2. Oh, it ends with like Godsmack song?
It's not Godsmack.
No, the Are You Ready? Isn't that Godsmack?
That's definitely not Godsmack.
Because that used to be legitimately, that was the old intro music for UFC. For like...
Alright. I'm watching this scene right now. Hold on.
Alright, so yeah, let's watch this Jackie Chan thing. I'm gonna hit... Let me know when you hit play, John, so I'll watch it with you.
Alright.
Wait, I'm listening to this. This is Korn. This is totally Jonathan Davis.
Okay, yeah, okay then.
Alright,
Sorry,
Alright,
are you gonna watch this Jackie Chan thing with us real quick?
Yeah, let me go grab a drink real fast. Like you guys like talk about like the movie real fast. I had to go grab something.
So I thought it was fun. It's definitely the best of the 3 movies we watched.
yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fine.
I think I like as I sit on it, I dislike Mortal Kombat more and more.
Yeah, like the flaws are a little more prevalent to me than they were when I first watched.
And I think actually watching this movie like tells me like, why didn't they just do a tournament movie? Like, why is that so hard? Like, why is this doing a straight up like? There's so many movies in like the 80s and 90s, like sports movies that are tournaments. Why can't we do that?
Yeah, I mean, like, why wasn't the new Mortal Kombat a tournament movie?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the more I sit on it, like, the more I dislike that movie. It's still better than Monster Hunter, but
yeah, I mean, like, I think that movie's better than Annihilation. It's not as good as 95.
It's not as good as the Street Fighter Van Damme Raul Julia one.
No.
It's like, better than Chun-Li.
It's like, I said like I would probably rewatch, the new Mortal Kombat again, like if I was with a group, which is like probably true, but like really, like at the end of the day, I think I would just like watch the best of Kano as a YouTube clip and just like kind of call it a day.
Yeah,
it's
and I would watch the Kung Lao fatality.
Yeah, I could just watch like a supercut of the fatalities, but like that was a very boring movie, and like this was more entertaining with like the. Like I never was like how much movie is this left? Because when we checked it, I was surprised that there was only like 20 minutes left when I brought it up. Like this animated movie moved faster and had better pacing and more 3-dimensional characters than the live action Mortal Kombat.
And like if they made Ryu in like a live action movie, which they have done at least once. they would have made him just like Liu Kang in the new one, where they were just like, oh, he's like kind of lame, and he's like super like kind of like just the goody two shoes like guy who wants to like do the tournament.
I think if they did a new thing, Ken would be the lead, and I don't think that's a bad idea.
No, I mean like
Ken is a better lead than Guile.
I think it just depends on like what's the story. Like this goes back to where there's like two stories about Street Fighter. It's like, what story do you want to tell? Like, do you want to tell the story of M. Bison, or do you want to tell the story of Ryu and Ken dealing with like Akuma? I mean, like they can like intertwine at some point, but I feel like also at the end of the day, it's like you gotta choose one. And also, I would choose neither because I would do fucking Gil because Gil's great.
All right, I'm ready, Lou, when you are.
That's the guy that's like half and half, right? Like
he's like,
weird.
yeah.
All right, so let's watch this Jackie Chan thing real quick.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, and this is from City Hunter.
Yeah.
This is pretty early in Jackie Chan's career, too, if I remember. Which I think you have to remember, Jackie Chan went to, like, the Juilliard of China, and he's, like, a trained comedic actor.
Huh.
Hey, they did the sound effect.
This is absurd. What the fuck?
It's so weird, but it's so good. Like, they're doing all the moves.
This is so bizarre.
And they're walking like the walk animations.
Yeah. And the falling animations.
The way the camera is speeding it all up is just... They even have Guile's theme. God.
I love all the sound effects.
This is pretty good.
Yeah, because those were the two guys that were in the beginning. I like how he did the peace sign.
The fuck? I think my exhaustion is finally setting in. I've just gone
Did
delirious.
you not imagine Jackie Chan as Chun-Li?
I imagined many things. That was not one of them.
I love the game sound effects in it.
Honestly, it's impressive they had the game.
Man, Jackie Chan's ripped.
Oh, he was like a king in his prime.
It is like a bold move for like an actor to do like at that time period to do stuff like that. But I guess it's a little different in China. I don't know. I think it's such a weird thing, but it's so much fun.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah, if you look, it's like there's so many like gifs of it online. It's really but it's Jackie Chan. Like he does a ton of comedy stuff. So
right.
If we want to do a quick ranking, this is of our video game movies. I think we all said this is like number one of the three, right?
Yeah, I would probably say so.
And this is probably like real middle for me.
I think overall this is like middle. And I think it's because I did not have any attachment to this movie growing up. So this is my first time watching it. So I'm kind of looking at this with a fresh perspective and I enjoyed it, but I think that's because I'm also like not as invested in the Street Fighter lore. So I am not as invested as like say Styler is. So that is just my take on it. But it's fun. The fights are cool. I like the Vega Chun-Li fight, not just because of the clothing, but I just thought it was a fun fight.
You were not it had nothing to do with seeing naked Chun-Li.
Sir, I am a good man.
No, like I'm with you. This is like very middle. Have we done is this the only animated thing we've done?
In terms of anime, yeah, the closest thing we got to was the Bleach live action.
Which I think is better.
I think the Bleach live action's better.
Bleach live action's better. Speed Racer live action's better.
I think this is better than Bleach. I don't think it's as good as Speed Racer. Like,
I think I liked Bleach more.
I liked Bleach more. I like Speed Racer more. Demon Knight, Frighteners, Rocketeer, Mask of Zorro. I liked all of those a lot more. So this is very like middling. This goes really quicker, like how like Mars Attacks or Flash Gordon would go, which is a little lower.
Ooh, I think I watched Mars Attacks before this.
I can watch
I'm sorry, Flash Gordon. Like, yeah, Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon is such a weird, like, it's so insane that I love it so much. Like, I love that movie because it's fucking preposterous. I think it's also like, as somebody who watches a ton of anime, and especially have watched a ton of anime of this era, like, it's okay. I think of like early 90s anime, it's like movie, it's like very fine. But it's, I don't know, it's so good. Like, it's not bad. It's just very like, it's good.
I mean, like, I'm judging this also as like a fighting game movie, and I think like I think this is only like comparable to, you know, the Van Damme Street Fighter and the '95
Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I think the story of Street Fighter 2 is better than the story of Street Fighter, the American movie.
It has a better script, for sure.
Even though, like, you know, I think, like, both have, like, super iconic scenes, and I think they're both really good for their own reasons. But, like, I still think, like, Mortal Kombat is, like, still to this day kind of, like, the flag bearer of, like, what makes, like, a good adaptation that also doesn't... Like Street Fighter 2 is more of a Street Fighter movie than what the Street Fighter movie was.
No, the Street Fighter movie is... You're watching it because it's a shit show, but that somehow has, like, fun and really good actors in it.
I mean, the Street Fighter movie is... the Street Fighter American movie is G.I. Joe. And Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, is a adaptation of the game. And Mortal Kombat 94 and 95 is an adaptation of the game and totally, like, treats, like, it as, like, its own thing. Like, it is an adaptation of the games. And like, Mortal Kombat to this day is the only film that, like, is a good film that also is an adaptation purely of, like, what I like about the thing.
Well, I would say, like, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat are more fun films than good films. Like,
I think fun and good are like the same thing. If a film is fun, then it is good. Like,
I think Street Fighter is a very fun movie. I would never call it a good movie. It's a good movie to watch, but it's not like a good film.
I guess you
know what I'm saying? Like, I
would agree with that. I think there's like this idea though, like sometimes people like, it's like Mortal Kombat's a good movie. Like let's like not like try and like,
it's not like there's things that they could have done that they should have adjusted for it.
I think there's like sometimes people like write off things that they like because it's, you know, like Street Fighter is a good movie. Like, yeah, I could tell, like, I could see why people don't like it, but like I would not call Speed Racer a bad movie.
No, Speed Racer's a good movie.
And I think like sometimes people like undersell like the things they like because it's like, well, it's bad, but it's but it's it's good. It's like, and I think
what movie is like, it's not an actual video game movie that is like kind of the best version of this, and that's Bloodsport. Like, Bloodsport is basically like Street Fighter the movie, but
I've never seen Bloodsport.
Fuck you. What?
I've never seen Bloodsport.
All right, we might have to do a kung fu watch party set,
or like
kung fu, like more like martial arts movie set,
or not even that. Like if we want to just do like an off party, or like an offline like watch party.
I love Bloodsport.
Like, I'm not like, it's not like one of those things where it's like, oh fuck Bloodsport, I'll never watch that shit. Like, I'd be open to watching Bloodsport. I just, there's like a lot of 80s movies like I didn't kind of watch until like later on in my life.
That's like, yeah, and that's like the Van Damme movie. It's a Van Damme movie, and it's a
Are you saying the Van Damme movie isn't the one that's called Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Oh, but like, no, it's who's the producer? No, like the producer is he's one of the big producer of all those crazy movies in the 80s and 90s. De Laurentiis. So it's a Van Damme De Laurentiis movie. It's
like Roadhouse is like one of those movies.
Yeah.
That,
do you know who's in Bloodsport? Like way before they're famous.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Well, that's the movie that makes him famous. But
I'm looking at Forrest Whitaker's in this movie.
Yeah, Forrest Whitaker is who I'm talking about. Like, Forrest Whitaker is in that movie in such a random role. I would do a Van Damme trilogy.
Kumite. Yeah. Kumite.
I would say like Bloodsport, Kickboxer, and then Lionheart would be like.
No, we got to do Time Cop. We need to do Time Cop.
Time Cop is so good.
I was gonna say Hard Target.
But the thing is, like, he's
I'm down for a Hard Target and Time Cop, honestly.
And like, but the thing is, like, there's the movie. Like, have you ever seen The Quest? Okay, so The Quest is.
I've heard of it.
I remember The Quest. I never saw The Quest.
Okay, so The Quest is, I believe, written and directed by Jean-Claude Van Damme, and starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. Also starring Roger Moore and James Remar. And it's basically Mortal Kombat / Street Fighter, but in like the 30s. And at some point, Van Damme plays like a mime in New York, and that's what makes him a good martial artist.
You know what Van Damme movie I liked as a kid was Sudden Death.
Oh, the hockey movie. So you're talking to the person. I have seen all the Van Damme movies.
So I also do enjoy the Universal Soldier movie that has Bill Goldberg in it.
Oh, that's the new one. That's like the newer one.
Well, no, that's not the newer one. That's the one where it's the Return.
Soldier, the Return.
This is, yeah, it's newer. It's not the original one.
No, I'm talking about newer. You mean like regeneration?
Newer as in 1999.
Yes. But you don't like the one where Van Damme plays twins? Double Impact?
I would watch that too. I would watch Double Impact, Hard Target, and Time Cop.
No, we're watching Bloodsport.
And Bloodsport. Those four.
Bloodsport is the one we'd watch.
What's the deal with Jean-Claude Van Damme? Like
cocaine?
Is that the problem? Like,
so much cocaine.
He had a horrible cocaine addiction where he broke a stunt guy's neck in one of the movies.
Because like the last one of these films I kind of like remember as being like a big film was Double Team.
Oh, Double Team! I own Double Team.
Double Team's bad.
That's the end of his. That's way. That's the like. That's
and then
the end.
This is like the last you kind of see him in theaters, because then afterwards, like all these look like directed DVD shit until JCVD, which kind of like
it brings him back. Yeah, JCVD brings him back. Then he does Kung Fu Panda 2. Then he comes up in the Expendables, and that's like the return of JCVD.
But like he's also just like he doesn't like give like the like JCVD was like kind of a huge film in a way that like it kind of rehabilitated his career in a lot of ways. Like in a way that like Sylvester Stallone kind of got his like career like reconfigured, and same with like Arnold Schwarzenegger around this time. But like he's still like doing all of like these directed DVD movies. Are the people representing him bad, or is his public image bad?
It was his public image. He was doing a lot of it himself. He was in the throes of a really bad cocaine addiction. It's also the bottom fell out of like the genre in many ways. Because the big thing is like it was him, it was Seagal, and it was like Chuck Norris, and I feel like
Chuck Norris is like doing like a bunch of like Jesus shit now. So
he's been doing Jesus shit since like the early 90s.
Listen, I love the Expendables 2 to pieces. That movie is the most entertaining out of all those three. Yeah,
but when it comes to those like martial arts guys, like it just like the bottom kind of fell out. They all got old. And the thing is, they were also all bullshit. And it's weirdly like where the rise of like Asian actors breaking into the States, like Jackie Chan and Jet Li, kind of blew them out of the water, because those guys are real martial artists.
Not even martial arts guys, but like Dolph Lundgren's actually a smart dude. Like,
well, yeah, but Dolph Lundgren was always like he's the bad guy in all the movies.
Yeah. So Jean-Claude Van Damme is going to be in the new Minions movie as a character literally named John Claude, but with a CLAW.
And he started off as a stunt guy, because if you go look back, which we're really going into a tangent, he was the stunt person in the original Predator suit for Predator that they did not use.
I'm basically just like kind of like flabbergasted that like Stallone, Schwarzenegger, to some extent, like even like Bruce Willis have had like real kind of like big second lives.
Well, the thing is, Van
Damme like just never like.
The thing is, like those guys had like they're on like their fifth life, because like you have to remember that like Willis was a TV star first. Stallone came out of the gate won an Oscar for writing Rocky. Like he wrote and directed Rocky.
He didn't direct Rocky 1. That was John G. Avildsen.
Okay, so he wrote Rocky and starred in it.
Also,
and like,
Lou, I'm sorry to interrupt. It is almost 1 a.m.
I know. We're like super late. But like, yeah, like it's like just wrap it. Like those guys are kind of different, and they're like they were also earlier. They were like 80s guys. So, yeah. So that kind of was.
But nostalgia is for 20 years, and like I'm kind of surprised that Van Damme like never had that like nostalgia bump.
Oh, he has. He's done like those Tostito commercials, and he's done a bunch of stuff. And that was like, was it Jean-Claude Van Johnson was a couple of years ago. I think it's hard because there was a lot of like womanizing and drug use, so it's like it's a little wonky. All right, so I guess we can close it out. Find us at all the places. John F. and Seiler. It's right. That's your Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, John_FN_Seiler SEILER.
Yeah. Listen to all the podcasts. John Scott, you've been doing stuff with like another show, right?
Yeah, we're on Gatecrashers. I actually
You've been cheating on us?
Listen, my buddy Dan started a podcast / website. Our whole idea is to break down barriers and introduce you to your new favorite thing. It is called Gatecrashers. We just came out with an episode about autism representation in the media. I am super proud of it. It is, I think, the best
that's awesome.
We've done so far. Please
you should invite him into our JCVD cast.
He might actually go for that. But yes, we talked about it and it went so well. So please go listen to it. Please give it a listen. Thank you so much. And yeah.
Yeah, listen to all the shows here, the After Darks, movie specials, all the good things. Tell a friend, rate 5 stars. Those 5-star ratings really help. Thumbs up and hit the little bell on YouTube. We'll catch you guys next time. Adios.
Break your arms. That's Zangief's win quote.